everyone, welcome to the latest episode of Chasing Creativity. This is Kiran Mandral, and today I have with me a very dear friend, a fabulous powerhouse of an actress, Tiska Chopra. Welcome to Chasing Creativity.
Thank you, Kiran. And I'm so delighted to be able to do this conversation with you because we've been friends for such a long time and we've always collaborated on something which has been unusually creative.
So we get right into creativity, Tiska. I know the backstory. Your first time on stage was as little Krishna, back when you were a toddler, I think, even before earlier than 2 or so.
Yeah.
And you come from a family that is into the arts, into literature. You have Khushwant Singh, you're the grandniece of Khushwant Singh. You have parents who are into books and education and all that. So it was a fertile, vibrant childhood, I would say, in terms of the arts, in terms of literature, in terms of words. How did theatre finally happen to you from that toddler on the stage being Krishna to this powerhouse we see now on our screens? So when did you decide to make that jump into theatre? Was it at college when you were studying literature? How did it all happen?
So all through school, I was always in every poetry recitation, onward into every play and every single debate that the school ever participated in. I was in every single one. Mm-hmm. I didn't miss one, not even 1 year. And I think I must have realized early on that I'm an introvert and I do not end up putting myself out there and become the most popular kid in the class or whatever. But that was my way of sort of doing my thing or exploring creativity. That's how that happened. And by the time I was in grade 8 or 9, we had people from DU who were coming, professors were coming. There was this wonderful gentleman called Sidney Ribeiro who came and coached us. So he was my first actual drama coach. So he told us about how to enunciate, how words carry through. And then there was such a culture. Kamani, Shriram, Mandi House was such a vibrant culture. There was Barry John and there was all of that. So we kept hearing, talking, going for plays, watching stuff. That was the time that all of this sort of took root. And then in college is when I wrote and directed my first play and acted in it as well. And it was a disaster. I mean, it was a piece of high-flying crap. But because everyone was in college, they thought it was the cat's whiskers and everyone loved it. And now when I look back, I'm like, did we seriously write that nonsense? But it flew and it did well. So,
but look at the courage.
The courage was tremendous.
Wonderful. So from that courage, Tiska, you came to Bombay. Mm-hmm. You acted in a commercial film, no less, Platform. Mm-hmm. That was your first starring role, I think.
Yes.
And it was pretty well received. You were here.
It wasn't well received at all. It was a disaster. Seriously? It was what they call a legitimate flop. Platform pe gaadi kabhi aayi hi nahi. So that was a bad phase for me because I was very square peg in round hole at that time. It wasn't the place for me.
And that's when you decided you want to shift gears a bit?
And go into theatre back to sort of, because I was confused. I was all of maybe like 20 by the time I'd got a film, 4 actually. I did 1 film in the South and 2 others here in Bombay. And in that spate that I'd signed those films and I realized that, this is not what I want to do, really, not this way. And then when I went back to theatre, it was more as in, I'm looking at it as a hobby. And then I decided, okay, I do love acting a lot. So I was trying to find a day job and I was trying to think, kya karu? Should I do advertising? Should I do this, that, architecture? What should I do? But then I got offered something which was by Tigmanshu Dhulia with Irfan. And that's how the second innings, so as to say, started.
The second innings. And you also trained under Naseeruddin Shah.
That's right.
Tell us about that.
That was wonderful because Sir played my father in a film, in one of those obnoxious ones that we had done. He was also doing obnoxious work, so was I. I mean, the work itself was obnoxious. And he was like, आओ कभी workshop वगैरह करो, play करो, theatre करो. So I was like, हाँ, ज़रूर. And that stayed in my mind. So I, now and then wherever I bumped into him, we'd say hi. And I remember him being extremely lively. with he was constantly with the actors, looking at young actors and with hope in his eyes and all of that. And then at some point I started badgering him and saying, "Sir, you had said you want to do a workshop with actors. When is that happening? Blah, 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 blah." Then one day, I got a message from his manager who said that, "Sir कह रहे हैं कि वो एक workshop है, अगर आपको आना है तो आप आ जाइए." So that workshop had Randeep Huda, Ratna ma'am, Ankur Vikal, Hiba, me, a bunch of others, and there's about 8 or 9 of us. So he would feed us. He would give us the venue and he would teach us and charge nothing for it.
Wow.
It was just pure gift of knowledge. And I think for me, there was just pre-Tare Zameen Par, when I was wandering around thinking life mein kya hone wala hai, kya karne wali hu, and then this happened. And I went into that audition with all of the training that I had newly received in the past month and a half. And I think that helped me crack that audition.
Mm. I've always wondered, Tisca, how did you get into the skin of Mrs. Awasthi? Because that's a very real, very down-to-earth character. She's every woman.
Yeah.
So, are you a method actor or are you a spontaneous actor? What is your process? I've always been very curious.
I've also been very curious to know what this method acting is. I've always wondered कि ये क्या method है जो मेरे को खुद को नहीं मालूम. I think सबका अपना method होता है. And I think more importantly, every character tells you कि उसके लिए क्या method है. So there isn't a set method. I'm sure there is. Stanislavski or Uta Hagen or all the teachers, Stella Adler would have many methods. And I've tried to watch all of that and tried to imbibe that. But you can't take one set thing and apply it. One size doesn't fit all characters. So you find... You read the script, you start getting I start getting flashes. I sometimes go to fabric shops.
Mm-hmm.
And because I feel that every human being sort of has a very clear idea after a certain age कि वो इस तरह का fabric नहीं पहनेंगे और इस तरह का पहनेंगे. And it's textural, so it gives you a certain texture. I'll go for smells, I'll go for that kind of an idea, which gives you a rise of the emotion, if you know what I mean. You know, what is the most defeating for an actor? If there's a flatness to the character, like कुछ आ नहीं रहा है, that is the scariest. बुरा आ रहा है, कुछ energy आ रही है, वो बहुत अच्छा है. If nothing is coming from the character, then that is very scary. So for Maya Awasthi, honestly, the script was stellar. Like I stole the script. I refused to give it back to them when they wanted it for the Screenwriters Association stamping or whatever. I just hid it in my bag. I said, "ये तो मेरे हाथ से नहीं बाहर जाएगा." I don't care. So I think it was the mixture of that fabulous script and the direction of Amir and some bit of the angst that a woman may have, thinking, am I to blame?
Mm-hmm.
Have I given my child this sort of gene? And how can I help him? What can I do? Because she could see that little boy suffering and she was stuck within that patriarchal family and that system. So I think all of those things sort of gave me wonderful things to play with. So yeah, then the rest of it.
At that point, you weren't a mom.
No.
And I've always wondered, because your emotions, of course, you're an actor and you have to draw on those emotions, but they were real because we were all sitting in the theater sobbing our eyes out with you. So how did you draw on that well of emotion?
Honestly, I think just training as an actor. Training as an actor, and I think wonderful script, wonderful director, as I mentioned. And then you just let go, and you just be in the moment, thinking of that little boy and his trauma inside him and away from you, who cuddles you every night and sleeps, and then suddenly he's not there and you're like sort of going into his room and seeing के वो यहाँ है नहीं, पता नहीं अकेला वहाँ कैसे कर रहा है कोप और क्या हो रहा है उसके साथ, तो वो तो आ ही जाएगा रोना.
So this was a highly emotional movie. You've also done the flip. You've done stuff like Good News. You've done really funny things. In Murder Mubarak, you play a very powerful role. But she has a funny moments too.
Yeah.
So what do you find more enjoyable? The funny ones, the intense ones? What works better for you?
So Murder Mubarak was actually quite an interesting journey for me, because I was not sure if I could play that high octane a character. Everything that I'd done prior to that, whether it was Ankur Arora murder case or Rahasya or whatever else I'd done, was very real. It was all very rooted. But here was a woman who we only know she's in some way rooted towards the end of the film. Before that, she seems to be this person who's, all about the surface of things. But there is nobody like that, really. Even people who are on the surface of things, if you scratch the surface, you'll find their reality. I mean, everyone's got fears, doubts, hesitations. So I tried to find things that were her triggers. And I sat with Homi for a long time. So I essentially am completely reliant on the script and the director.
Okay.
Entirely. I will try and find a straw that fits the hole in the director's head and put it into his head and gently squeeze out his brain juices and try, because I want to see how he's seeing the film. And then I try and fulfill that so that you're true to the film and true to the writing and true to how he is seeing it, rather than do your own thing. Then once you know, then you can go segue here, go there, do other things. But most of the time, the director is the only person who knows how it's going to look. So you need to do that.
Okay.
Suspend yourself in the gravy that the director is creating.
And are you the kind of actor who will tell the director, I don't think I did that well. Maybe I can take another take. Even if he says, okay, fine, done, we're done with this shot. Do you do that often?
Yes, guilty as charged. I totally am, because whether it was an Amir or a Homi or a whoever, so like in music, there is that sum, there is that exact note that you hit. You can't be in the vicinity. You either hit bullseye or you don't. If you hit bullseye, there's 1 point. There's not 17 points. Similarly, you could do it another way. You could hit another board altogether. You could hit a tree or a pigeon or a whatever. But if you're hitting the bullseye, then there's 1 point. Similar to music, there's one spot, one thing. And when the truth of that rings, nothing needs to be said. It is the truth as spoken. And it'll be felt by everyone. Set dadas who are there lighting people on the tarapa. Everyone will quiet down and look down when that moment of truth happens. Most actors live for that. वो एक फिल्म में 1 बार होगा, 2 बार होगा, 10 बार होगा. You can't say. कभी कभार बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. Sometimes it hardly ever happens. And you're just going by के कट के ऐसा लगेगा. It'll, eventually when you edit it and it's pieced together, there'll be music and it'll look like it's hitting the zone. They'll bring you into the zone. But sometimes you are live streaming the universe. It's a cosmic connection. It's just like the truth has occurred right now. And that is what we are striving for. So if you know that it's somewhere there, you're in the zone, then you will tell the director. And most of the time, because you spend so much time with them and now they're friends and they're collaborators and they're also looking for that moment of truth. So they will absolutely say, yeah, go for it. Do it. They'll quiet people down around you and say,
lovely. Do it. From theatre, which is a medium where you get one shot with the audience, to films, where you get repeated takes until you go into the zone and get that moment. What has your learning been from theatre to take into films and vice versa?
They're different animals. They're called acting, but they're completely different animals. So for me, theatre has the benefit of having intense preparation. People are constantly theatre actors. So I'll take it from here. So I love the preparation time that one gets in theatre, because you work independently and you work with your co-actors. You know your marks, you know this, you know that. And when everything is ready, you sort of unleash that emotional charge into the moment and get into the zone. You take energy from the audience when they're laughing or they're chuckling or they're, saying, whatever it is, you take that. That's the joy of live performance. You take the energy from the audience and you give it back to them. Sculpt it into the emotion of the character and bring it out, and you egg them on and they egg you on, and it's a very give and take sort of thing, and the gratification is instant. You don't have to wait for the film to be edited and worry about whether that scene will be kept as it is, whether that take will be kept in whole or they'll edit it in parts, or all of that. That instant gratification is something I miss in cinema, because it takes a long time for a film to come. And then it's one of the largest, and film is the largest collaborative art form known to man. Because you do not have 250 people collaborating unless it's an orchestra. Even so, it's not 250 people. I mean, I don't think there is.
I'll have to check.
Yeah, I don't think there is. So cinema is the only place where the lighting, the music, the sound, the editing, the costume, the prop, the makeup, the hair, the dialogue, every department needs to come together just so to create that moment. And that is extremely important. Theatre can do with much less. It's very few people, 5 people can put up a play. We can do the set, we can do everything and then come and act, and that's most often how it happens. I miss the rawness of theatre. But what I like about film is that it reaches so many more people. It's not the bastion of a few who can afford a heavily priced theatre ticket and come and go, kya maza aaya, bahut acha. Also, on the other hand, you can explore very unusual ideas, because theatre doesn't cost that very much. To put up a play is not that expensive. To put up a film, prohibitive.
You need to get your money back.
Not just that, you need to have someone who will put the money in first, back to baad mein aayega.
Absolutely. Which reminds me, you're not content with just being an actor. You're writing, you're producing, you did Chutney, you did The Hungry. And now you're working on your own movie and your own script. Tell us a bit about this phase of yours. What made you decide to make your own movies?
It came out of sheer desperation. There was a director that I was supposed to be working with, and 4 days before shoot, he told me, we're going with someone younger. We've changed our minds. Leading up to that, I had given up a lot of other work and said no to a lot of other projects and gone deep into prep and everything. And so it was, I felt sort of powerless. And I felt that this is not the manner in which I want to conduct the rest of my working life. From here on forward, things are going to be different. So I said, I have some money set aside and I'm going to make a short film. I had been performing this one thing, which was a small Bhisham Sahani story called Saag Meet. And that over various performances had sort of evolved. It had become hydra-headed and got various layers and whatever. And so from then became Chutney. And we went ahead and we made that. And that was the first thing I ever wrote. So for me, it was as much of a shock as anybody else to realize that, oh my God, people like it. And then they love it. And then, oh my God, it is the most watched short film in the world. So people just love that film. And if you read the comments on YouTube, there's like a few thousand comments and everyone is sort of getting into the story and doing their own story. So it taught me something. It taught me that the audiences are extremely intelligent. And it is the arrogance of us filmmakers or people in the film business who think that नहीं लोगों को नहीं समझेगा. अच्छा, आपको समझ रहा है, उनको नहीं समझेगा क्यों? कहानी है यार, सबको समझता है. Detailed कहानी है, शायद somebody might not like that kind of film. They might say that, I don't want to see something sad, I don't want to see horror, that's a choice. But to say कि उनको नहीं समझेगा, ये बेवकूफ़ी है, ये हमारी बेवकूफ़ी, हमारी arrogance है. तो that's what that taught me. So I feel that you have to keep them guessing. Mm-hmm. So it's a game that you play with the audience.
Okay.
If you're doing that genre. So that is the reason that I actually started out writing. I was always writing, but I hadn't done screenplay. Mm-hmm. I'd written articles, I'd written books, all of that, but never screenplay. So screenplay came out of that, out of desperation, that what is this fixation with young and good looking? So the character in Chutney is neither young nor good looking. She neither has a male child, actually no child at all, and she speaks in this hideous way. She looks nothing remarkable, in fact, on the lower side of the curve. So all of those things are stacked against her, and yet she wins the day. So I felt that there was something there that needed to be told, that don't judge a book by its cover. And just because somebody is not being given what society deems as being valuable traits, that wahi cheez kaam karti hai. Kuch bhi kaam kar sakta hai. I'm not at liberty to say too much, except that it's with Jio, and Manish is producing it, and it is a thriller. And I am almost done with the film. We are in post-production now. So that's
Lovely.
where that's at.
Thriller is something that you've done a lot of in recent times as a genre.
Have I? Yeah.
I think Dahan was there, Rahasya was there.
Rahasya was
24.
24. Yeah.
So there's a lot of thriller that you've been doing.
Yes.
Has it been deliberate, or have they just come to you?
I always believe that the universe gives you what you're looking for. You know, what you're looking for is also looking for you. I've always believed that. So I think, yeah, somewhere. Now I'm looking for a love story. I'm putting it out there.
The universe will manifest.
It will.
There was a very interesting role that you did, which was, I forget, it was a short about a theatre actress.
Rubaru.
Rubaru.
Mm.
I think you produced that yourself?
And directed.
And directed it.
Yeah.
The character is very close to home.
Mm.
She's somebody who's a performer. She's somebody who is struggling with certain issues. So how much did you have to draw from yourself to make that, build on that character? How did that character come about?
So that story actually is the story of so many, an amalgamation of so many actresses who are going through all forms of angst. It's not so much the truth now, because the industry, while you have the heroine age and, you know, all of that, and itne saal hote hain, uske baad to ye ho jata hai, wo jata hai. But like once that idea has now recently been smashed. Prior to that, it was that अच्छा अभी तक आप हीरोइन के रोल करोगे, फिर भाभी के रोल करोगे, फिर बीजी के रोल करोगे. So it's babe, bhabhi, biji. 3 categories, and that's your entire acting career, and nothing in between. No nuance, no shades of, none of that. It's like ye, aage badho. So because women were decorative flower pots, you know, iski love interest hai, ye hogi, wo hogi, wo hogi, wo hogi, wo koi bhi ho sakti hai, because it's about the male protagonist. And then the other characters are sort of peripheral and shallowly written.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was. So for me, Rubaru was an amalgamation of so many women who I'd seen, older actors, actresses, who were saying ke abhi kama le, abhi ye kar lo, abhi wo kar lo. And this woman finds herself at that stage where she's no longer at the peak of youth, and she sees it declining, and she's also just stopped having a relationship with the leading man. And all of that just comes to, and the director tells her that this is your moment. Don't think about what is and what will be. Now, here's where you are. Take this, make it happen. And she understands what he's saying, and she understands that how she's been distracted and all the white noise in her head. So she takes that moment and she triggers herself literally with something so that it's a life and death moment for her. And she gives the performance of a lifetime. And then she understands that I have to take this leap in order to, will she do it every night? We don't know.
But she took the leap.
Yeah.
How important is the energy from the actor working with you, the person or the people who are in that particular shot? Do you feed off the energy?
100%. It is everything. It is so vital. For example, I was just working with Pankaj in Murder Mubarak, and he has warm, soft eyes. And he is such a nice man, such a secure man. He will stand for your cues, all of that basic stuff, which is professional and all of that. But he will literally through his life be telling you, come, do it better, give me more. So he's doing that. And you're like, such a cutie. He's so lovely. And lots of actors. Because otherwise you tend to think of this as somebody who's taken the baton and will be running a single race. It's not like that. no passenger can fly ahead of the plane. If the film doesn't do well, you can't do well yourself. That'd be ridiculous. It doesn't happen like that. The film has to do well, and everyone's in the film.
So that's important to have somebody you can throw energy off, bounce it off.
100%. 100%. And even the director, for that matter, we're all children. The minute the shot is over, everyone looks at the director. The seeking eyes, कि कैसे था, कैसा किया हमने, ठीक था, one more, नहीं, the full vulnerability, full एकदम, we are like that, बता दो, अच्छा नहीं हुआ, then we sing back, and so if the director is also like a vibrant energy, not a harassing bully who's trying to like sort of say something or the other, then you're also getting really like, because it's very vulnerable, this space.
Yeah. You're sort of inhabiting another person, and you need to know whether you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So who have been the directors who you've really learned from, or, got something new from?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. Like I said, my various straws for various sizes of holes in their brain. I'll always be sidling up to them and trying to see कि कुछ और बोल, किसी और से भी बात करना, मैं से पीछे जाके खड़ी हो जाऊंगी. I'll be listening to क्या सोच रहे हैं, क्या बोल रहे हैं, कुछ मिल जाएगा मेरे को कि मैं इस शॉट को ऐसा सोच रहा हूँ, मैं ऐसा सोच रहा हूँ. So you never know. And that habit has stood me in good stead because now I'm directing. So I've learned just by being on set.
Lovely. There are very few women who have moved from being actors to directors. I can think of Aparna Sen. I can't think of anybody else, honestly.
Coco? Konkona?
Yeah, Konkona.
Hemaji?
Hemaji, yes.
Hemaji. Nina's done...
She's directed.
She directed, I think she directed a series. I'm forgetting the name now. It's there somewhere in my head. It's not coming out, yeah.
But there are very few of them. Whereas men have gone on to direct. Why do you think this has happened? Why do you think women are so reluctant to take on the banner of a director?
I don't think it's a question of reluctance necessarily. Filmmaking is seen as एक्टिंग तो फिर भी कर लेगा कोई. अरे इसमें अक्सर तो लोग यही बोलते हैं कि एक्टिंग में क्या हम भी कर सकते हैं, इसमें क्या बड़ी बात है. अच्छा, सबसे पहले तो दैट्स अ मिथ, बिकॉज आप खड़े करो किसी को कैमरे के सामने और उनको बोलो कि आप एक्ट करो, तो short of peeing in their pants, I've seen people like they freeze. कुछ नहीं आ रहा है करने को. They just have this strange laugh.
Director smile.
Yeah, it's like strange. Like, and you're like, अच्छा अभी तो बहुत बोल रहे थे, अभी क्या हो गया? तो एक तो there is that. So filmmaking is seen to be a very, very technical job. You have to know camera, you have to know lighting, you have to know editing, you have to know sound, you have to know so many things. But at the end of the day, what most people don't realize is that you have to know story. If you know your story and you're good with getting performances out, your cameraman will take care of the angles. Your sound person will tell you that this is how sound can be done. Your editor will help you with the editing. They are supposed to do their jobs. You should have an idea. Of course, as you progress along the path, you will get better at all of those things and amalgamating all of those ideas. But if you have a basic idea of story, of the rise, the fall, the cadences, the rhythms inside the film, then I don't think you have a problem telling a story. There are people to help you. You can't, of course, start cutting clothes and making them. You'll know that, I need this texture for this character, or I need this kind of hair, or I need this person to sound a little bit more bassy, and I need to sound... You can figure those things out. But that imagination to put the story in the language of cinema so that it's understood, that's what you need. But mistakenly, a lot of people think it's a very technical job. It is technical to some extent, but it's not as technical. So women are scared of being technicians. And I think that was a hurdle that I had to overcome. Because in my early days, there was a few bully actors who said, "Acha, camera rolling hai," and and you would go on performing, whereas it was already cut, and those kind of things. So now that I think back, I'm like, when you're just come into the business 2, 3, 4, 5 films old, and they're playing those kind of pranks on you just because they think you will not be technically aware. What does it take to know where is the camera? Nothing. You'll look around and you'll see the cameras there, that I have to be aware that the camera is there. And then once you know that, they'll say, and you'll see that the camera person's walked off. And that's that. So
this is like schoolyardish.
Yeah, very. Yeah, but we were also not, I was just out of school, barely into college when I came into work. So that's fine.
Did you ever feel the need to train as a director?
I wish I had to some extent, but also I've been at it for close to 30 years now. So working with fabulous directors like Abhinay Deo or Amir Khan or Sudhir Mishra, Homi, so many wonderful directors that I've worked with. Each of them has taught me something new and taught me a new way to look at the medium. And then, of course, one has to be true to what one feels, what kind of stories one wants to tell. So I'm very clear on one thing, and that clarity has come to me after I wrote my first film, that worlds can be in collision. You can have a Dune, you can have an Avatar, you can have all of that. But for me, what's interesting is the human drama. I like to go into people's heads. I like to take tight close-ups where you're peeping into the soul and you see how we rub against each other and the relationship between people. That's what interests me. The power dynamics, the relationship dramas, that's what I really like. I like human beings. I'm not so enthralled by airplanes, in the sky crashing into each other or space travel or whatever, unless it's an Interstellar.
I was just about to say.
Which is a human drama.
Interstellar.
Sci-fi human drama. So then that interests me.
Okay.
The minute you have a progression of the idea of humanity, you learn something. So Anatomy of a Fall or Holdovers, those have been some of my favorites recently.
How do you decide what role you're going to take on when you read a script? Does the character call you? How do you see yourself as that person?
Okay, I have two possible answers for this for you. And both are equally true. My manager, Mansi, she will tell you this, that first she will say no. I'll say no to everything. I'll just say no to everything. Because I'm petrified. मेरे को लगता है मैं कर ही नहीं सकूंगी. ये तो मैं कर ही नहीं सकती. ये तो मेरे से होगा ही नहीं. सबसे पहले तो मेरे को यही लगता है. That's my first reaction to everything. Then she'll be like, okay, after you've said no, then we'll figure a way to do it. So that's a reaction to me. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that once I've said yes, and then I start vamping. Then I start getting very anxious. Then I start getting very like, and I'll drive everyone mad. I'll be talking to my domestic help in a certain accent or in a certain way, and they'll be looking and thinking, whatever. Like, what is going on with her? Because I'll be trying on things for size, and I'll try them with everyone at home. I'll try it with my daughter, try it with my husband, till I get something. This is one little nugget that I can hold on to. So I think it's a very not ideally prescribed as a method. First, no to everything.
But is there any character you read or have read that you read it and said, okay, I have to be this person. I have to do this role?
I'm writing it now.
You're writing it now. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And you did say that, you try on the role for size, you'll be practicing accents, you'll be practicing all the mannerisms. Was there any character that you really had to struggle to get into? To, fit that skin over yourself, so to speak?
Every single one.
Every single
one.
Still now, after all these years of...
I think that is the point. Because the one thing that I'm proud of, if anything, is that I have never repeated myself. You'll not find me playing same, because वो मेरे को अति बोरियत होती है उससे बहुत. मतलब I will disgust myself. I'm like, यार क्या तुम्हारी यही है क्या अब? यही कर रही हो तुम, बार बार वही छाप रही हो उसी को लेके. अब मायावस्ती के बाद I had 17 मायावस्तीज lined up for me. मैडम आपके लिए ना एक रोल है, ये एक बच्चा है छोटा सा, उसको प्रॉब्लम है और माँ बहुत दुखी है. I was like, वो दरवाजा है और अब मैं दुखी नहीं होना चाहती, अब जाइए. I would literally send people off because I'm not interested in doing the same thing. So I get very, very anxious with each role for a few days. I get excited and repelled at the same time. I'm like, इसको छोड़ दूँ, इसको मना कर दूँ. I'll call Mansi. I'll be like, you know what? I think they should take that person. That person is ideally suited for this. She's like, but they don't want that person. They have asked for you. Do you want to work this year or you don't want to work this year?
Why are you keen on doing social service?
I don't know. So I'm like, who else could play this better? Maybe that person's suited. So she's like, are you nuts? So once I get past that, then I start looking for these various shades and nuances and, whatever. And then I'll workshop, I'll, do, then the straw will come out, the director's head will come out, and I'll spend days and days and days and days. And then sometimes wondering, आप फिर आ रही हैं ऑफिस? I'm like, हाँ जी सर, आज फिर आ रही हूँ, एक रीडिंग करते हैं और कभी जस्ट कॉफी पीते हैं or something. So now I think now some of the directors started talking to each other. So now they know she will do this.
She will do this.
It's very used to.
Anytime you've been compelled to, like, of course, the mannerisms and all apart, dress like the person, go into the situations that person has existed in or lived in to get a feel of the, the background of the character. Any such thing?
There's a film that I did called Ankur Arora Murder Case,
yeah.
which was extreme. I think it's like, I really like that performance of mine. It's a very difficult film to watch and to do as well. And my director lives actually a couple of floors above my house.
Mm-hmm.
So I started chewing his brain as per normal habit. I was like, अच्छा कैसे करेंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे. He's saying, तुम ना set पे आ जाओ बस, मेरा दिमाग मत खाओ. And he's also a dear friend. He's saying, आ जाओ नहीं, set पे आ जाओ बस. I wasn't a mother then, and I had no preparation for losing a child. But as I mentioned to you a while ago, that sometimes live streaming happens. So it was as if all the women who'd ever lost children streamed through me. And if I was wearing nail paint from, we were shooting in Bombay, so sometimes you had to, after shoot, go for an event and somebody would paint your nails or whatever. I couldn't perform. So I had to go back to the vanity van, clear my nails of nail paint. And throughout the film, I was laughing. There was KK, there was other actors. We were all laughing, joking, chilling, eating fish, doing all kinds of nonsense. But the minute the camera would roll, it would be as if a heaviness would come from somewhere and settle in on my soul. And I would feel ke, kuch theek nahi hai, something. That thing would settle in on me. And that just happened. There was no sort of thing that you could do to prepare for that, because I honestly believe that we've lived lifetimes. We have imprints of very many humans within us. We have to find the trapdoor through which we can enter the commonality between us. So you go through the commonality and then find the differences.
It's very interesting. I know that you meditate quite a lot. Does that help you in finding your center as a performer in some way? Does it give you that peace, that stability, that zone? I don't know. I've never meditated. So I'm trying to figure out how it works for somebody who's a creative person.
Are you looking to act?
No, I'm not. But I'm looking to write.
I think that it makes you highly productive because it takes away your the chatter. You can at will reduce mental chatter.
Okay, that's so important.
The constant noises in your head, the monkey in your head will stop chattering if you want it to and say, okay, this here now, this here, minimize it to a little dot inside you, that point of focus. So in that, in just in that way, it helps.
Oh, lovely. It's not related to creativity.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, Tiska, you have a great social conscience. And you did a lot during COVID. What spurred you to go out of your way so drastically and do so much?
How could one not? Is the bigger question. I think one just responds to the circumstances. We were in Delhi. The whole family had COVID, 8 of us. My in-laws, husband, my 8-9-year-old child, the domestic help, everyone. And we were safe still. We had an oxygen generator, fortunately, in our house, which my father-in-law did need to use. But there were people who were dying outside hospitals. And we knew that there were 2 cylinders here. So all we had to do was get the cylinders to the hospital, not just physically ourselves, but make the connections on the phone. So we were finding people who were delivering. We were finding, all of that sort of stuff. Coordination, getting helicopters to Rishikesh so that they can ferry people to a hospital, remdesivir, whatever else, medication, all of that was needed. So it was more joining the dots than actually going out there and doing anything physically, because we were all down with COVID. And I couldn't sleep till 3 o'clock. So from 12 to 3, when the work for the family was sort of 11, 12 to whatever time it was done, to 3 o'clock, we were taking shifts. There's not just me, there was also Bhumi Pednekar, and there was a lot of other wonderful people who joined in. And we took shifts literally on the phone and did all of that work, because that's what the time asked of us. Yeah.
You spoke about the movie that you're doing right now. You're writing fiction for the movies, but I know you authored 2 non-fiction books. Do we see you authoring something in fiction?
Yes. Sanjay and I both are writing some stuff together. Sanjay is my husband, who's just had this series come out called Ranneeti. So
Lovely.
him and I are writing 2 books together. India's own Alex Rutherford.
Lovely. Not 1, but 2.
Alex Rutherford is 2 people.
I know.
Yeah.
So 2 books, I'm
2
saying.
books, yeah.
And what are they going to be on? What's the genre?
So some of it is historical fiction.
Okay.
And the other one was still fixing between one of 2. So we'll see which one.
Lovely. And in terms of performances, what do we see you in next?
The one that I'm writing now, we're working furiously on that. And there may be one that I might do, which is based on a Swedish play. So that might end up doing that. But first I'm saying no.
First you say no.
I just have to say no first.
I think that's a lucky charm, perhaps. You say no, then you say yes, and then it all works out for the best. Thank you so much for this discussion. Thank you for your time and all the very best.
Absolute pleasure, Kiran. Such a joy talking to you. Thank you.
All the best for all that you do.
Thank you.